Go to the cloud. Yeah, welcome all. I know I spoke something introductory, whatever, but okay. Today, this session, I'm going to cover few topics that are planned. Maybe we're gonna take around 45 minutes to 1 hour. And next Saturday, most probably next Saturday, same time, I'm going to do for day two. That way, you have continuity, etc. So, as a heads up, please plan. That way, you have more knowledge. And then once we go through this, you, definitely we have to put personal effort. That way, you get more knowledge. So today's topic, I believe, Shiva or ThinkSabio or Swapna, whoever, they have shared the banner which contains all that. I'll go ahead with introduction, right? How this started, etc. So ThinkSabio is nothing but it looks after or is based. The reports are based off of the institutional investment, basically. So when I say institutional investors, there are people whom we call as hedge funds, or they have been in stock market for last 50 years. Some are long-term investors, some are short-term traders, all that. But on a bright side, if they are doing some large blocks of transactions within a company's percentage, they have to report to SEC. SEC is nothing but a governing body. So basically, entire ThinkSabio is built on the institutional investment data. But apart from that, naturally, stock comes with pricing. So all the prices, how stocks are trending, etc., information that can help us make some decisions. That has been the core thing. I will cover few topics which we planned. Apart from that, we will discuss any questions if you have. So on that note, when we say institutional investment data, how are we even getting it? Right? That's the question. If I'm saying, hey, I'm giving you something, how am I even able to provide it? So this data is available through SEC website, and it is an open source. Okay, anybody can access it. So Sai came across one article back in 2018, which said that they are making billions of dollars, 24 billion, 25 billion per year, whatever. So then he was like, how is this even happening? And when this is happening, what am I doing without even gaining that knowledge or without even knowing it? So based on that start or that article, he took some research and then he tried investing based on whatever he found or his interest found, right? Then he saw some results. Then he felt, when I'm gaining, why don't I spread it to the community? That way I can tell this is what I'm doing. If they think it is working, they can continue to do their own research and develop, right? That's how it started. So having said that, that being an open source, how is it even being reported, right? If the reporting is legitimate, that means the data is valid, and we can also see and learn from it if there is anything. So that brings us to two kinds of rules. One is, if you're buying 5% stake in a particular company, then you have to report within 1 to 10 days of that buy period. Okay, let me repeat it. If you are buying 5% of stake in a particular company, then you have to report within 5 to 10 days of the buying activity you have done for that security. So if we take an example, nothing but there is Apple. Apple has 100 shares, let's say. If I'm buying 5 shares, 6 shares, or anything about that, then I am becoming a 5% owner within that particular company. So now, let's say I bought it this Monday, okay, May 1st or May 2nd. Then I have between May 2nd to May 12th, the 10 days period to report telling, well, this is what I have done. Okay. But on the flip side, let's say you don't take 5%, you took 1%, 0.5%, 0.01%, or anything less than 5%, between 4 up to 4.5, then you have to report all your holdings, portfolio holdings, right, by quarterly info. Every quarter ends, let's say this quarter ends, previous quarter ended on March. Once March 30th ends, you got 45 days to tell, well, within my portfolio, this is all the stocks I have. And if who gonna report? Because you should have got a question. Even we have some stocks in our portfolio, we are not reporting. The reason is, if we are maintaining a company and we are running or having more than $100 million portfolios, or the term ThinkSabio used, or maybe this is a regular term, but ThinkSabio used is assets under management. Let's say I'm having 100 million plus assets under management, then I have to report within 1 to 45 days of my quarter end. That way, the person who is buying 5% stake or who is not buying 5% stake, irrespective, they have to report their quarterly holdings, literally their portfolio, what they hold, what they don't hold, how many shares they hold, what they have done compared to previous times, etc., etc., etc. So that brings us some information, right? And then let's say, so if we have good investors, you will see and you will learn from it. That's exactly I did, but we will dive in to see how the reports look, etc. So with these two rules, right, you're getting some data. Based on that, instead of in SEC, everything is reported vaguely, right? Completely vague. Some person X goes, okay, submits, done. Some person Y goes, submit, done. So it's impossible. What Sai has done was, okay, if I have that information, how I can make a meaningful report. That brings us to so many things. We'll go through that. If you are following that banner, so that's called Sec 13D transactions we are talking about. The first scenario I told is anything buying more than 5% is nothing but that comes under that, because they have to report 1 to 10 days, right? So the quarterly 13F, we talked about it. If they're holding more than 5, that's fine. Even if not also, but they are managing more than 100 million assets under management, then they have to report quarterly. That's nothing but quarterly 13F. Basically, so far I said how it started, okay, or what motivated, and then what really it contains of to be, for the website to be up, or what content is available on the website. That's nothing but few kind of transactions. But these are transactions. But this is like, okay, based on this it was built. But what exactly is the report? How is it looking? Is nothing but Sec 13 report. Okay, so different places, if you browse any website to get familiar, you have to browse. Even you're going to Amazon, you don't browse it, you don't understand how to even use it, right? Same thing. You go through the menus, you go, then you will get acquainted easily. But on that note, if you want to check SEC 13 report, right? If you followed my this 10-minute talk or whatever we just talked, you might get, or people should report on a day-to-day basis, because 10 days back I got it, I'm going to report either today or within the next 10 days. Somebody else got it, they're going to report. So daily there are some reports, right? Quarterly there are some reports, because I just said when the quarter ends they have to report. So that's quarterly. So just by meaningful. And there is something called weekly. What are those reports, etc. We'll look for it. But deal of the week, basically. Upside deal of the week, downside deal of the week, something like that. That's down report. Those are weekly you are assessing. So that's why they are something under weekly. Okay. Such also provides you similar reports with a different structure. That's where we will browse, or when we look, we'll talk about it. But let's say, according to the banner item, if you go one by one, Sec 13 reports, what it means. Because it is happening daily, it's daily SEC. You can go to latest report, because if you are doing daily, it's a daily report. But let's say you're not doing it daily, you skipped one day, or you want to know what could be the total transaction happened for that symbol, etc. So if you go to all, most of the reports, 99%, everything is self-explanatory. Titles are self-explanatory. If we look into the titles, we'll get the meaning of it. So if you see all SEC transactions from April to April, basically they are covering some 1 year. This will hold everything that is reported in last 1 year. Why? Because you're getting quarterly info again and again. So you don't need too far back. If you cover 2-3 months, 2-3 quarters, that's like it's giving you a complete view or vague view of, Okay, this could be the scenario for that symbol. Similarly, if you are researching on a day-to-day, let's say, and you want to find or learn how I can use this data, or this is how I started. So every day, once I get this report, I'll take a look. So if you take Friday, some transactions happen. Okay, just because they happen, how you gonna use it, right? So once you start looking at it, one thing is by investor, for example, there are successful investors, there are successful companies, which doesn't need any introduction, right? When you see or when their product is out or when you come across in any conversation, it feels like it's a known thing, right? So over a period of time, when you are working or when you are looking into these reports, one thing is, if something is successful, some stock, I will see why. If it is successful, I'll see this transaction, and slowly, eventually, I got to know which institutes to follow. That's one, right? That's one way to look at it. You quickly look at it. Okay, somebody invested. Okay, well, I think this might work. If somebody you don't know, then maybe you will skip it. But the other ways are based on the percentage ownership. If somebody is buying too much ownership, there could be some positive thing. It doesn't mean it's going to skyrocket, doesn't mean it doesn't act according to the market, right? Market is supreme. But what are the ways this report can help, right? So one is, once you see an institute, good investor investing, it is looking meaningful. Current circumstances are looking meaningful, right? Because if we are in stock market, we will know day-to-day updates, or we will know general awareness of the market should be there, right? So let's say if you're doing that, then by this you'll get to see few symbols, whichever the symbols are, right? So these are the symbols. Or as I said, ownership, heavy ownership. Let's see why he's trying to invest. Another thing is here, basically, the shares. He's investing so many shares. It's same thing. Ownership is the giving clear picture, but even if you see shares and a particular company, into a particular share, a dollar amount could be different. So amount invested, right? Amount invested gives you some confidence. If I'm putting $10 versus $100, there is a difference. I should have a reason why I'm doing that, right? Either although the other $100 company is not great at all, but currently I feel maybe it's gonna move. That's why I'm putting it. That could be my reason. Or really, that's a strong company. That's why I'm putting there. So I feel secure. Whatever the reasons could be, but total amount invested will give you some idea, right? And this shares, whoever is buying newly, if he's putting 10 million shares, why is he doing that, right? These kind of things will help you to come up with, okay, this stock I can at least try to take a look. For example, INZY. This has been trending few times in the last 1 week to past 2 weeks. How I know? Every morning when market is running, I will open one trending report, which we will see, or when I share the screenshot, the screen, that's the one I was on. So what are the names popping? So now I'm registering few names. I cannot be on everything at the same time, nor I can invest also, nor I can remember. But at least if something is popping and some transactions are registering, that means it gives you some idea. But small caps very risky, so we have to analyze all that. But when you see that, for example, somebody invested 4 million, and I can tell you, Venrock in the past, when he took a nice good amount of shares into a good any companies he invested, it has done good. Some have skyrocketed next day. That may not be the case here, but it depends, right? So now I clearly know Venrock I can follow. If let's say something is trending on the stock, I can take a risk by putting some dollar, and depending on my plan, I can close it immediately for small win, or I can stand there on a long-term basis, or based on whatever the confidence I got versus goal, right? So like this, if you observe clearly, if somebody is heavily increasing the shares, right, or having good ownership percentage, or a good institute by itself, or the company itself is great. When something is happening with those, when some kind of transaction is happening, so that means there is attention to it. When they are investing, when you are investing, definitely there is something reason. But our analysis fails. That's where we fail. That our judgment was wrong. But you got attention only for a reason. There is a complete positive reason that you took that trade. We cannot guarantee judgment, but you took the trade because it is under your radar. That means these are stocks that you can observe. But out of these many, it's very hard. That's where some analysis is done by them, some analysis by us, or some of things, all of us together. So how do I? And many things I can just filter it out. I don't have to go through all. I have a particular institute, I can check for it, or by particular sector. I don't have to go through all sectors. Maybe I will do that. Otherwise, the main thing, as I told you, by status I will do, because you don't have to filter everything. Maybe what are the newly bought. When I do that, my search criteria reduces, or you can give any whatever filters. I'm sure some of us don't like to invest between $1 to $20 stocks because they are very risky. It pays the same way, it takes the same way. Do we have a heart to handle it? Only we know. So you want to avoid it, then just put $50 plus, minimum price 50. That way your research is cutting down to just like that. If I do this, we had like 35 or something, right? Now you got it to 22. That means the rest of them are like nothing. You by eyes you can do it. So when you have this, you will see what stocks based on the criteria I just spoke. Maybe a good investor is here. So when I quickly glance here, okay, recently I've been lazy too, I have to admit. But let's say I can pick this guy, okay, because it has done well in the past. And this guy, he always put into all shell companies, and they take off one time. Whenever it started to take off, it has run by 50% to up to 500% to 10x. That's what his history is. Whenever I see the transaction, that's what happened. So I think repeatable will happen. If it doesn't happen, yes, my judgment failed. But on what basis you are taking a trade? I have some basis right now, right? So that basis is important. On what basis you are making your decision to invest, buy or sell or whatever. So like this, now if I quickly glance, I got two people, right? There will be someday there will be good people, or good companies where you feel definitely this is a buy. Sometimes it's like, yeah, out of too much information, maybe you have to pass through, but otherwise, yes. Another thing I get from this is in what sectors heavy activity is happening. That gives you some idea as well. So basically, bottom line, this is day to day what we are receiving. They have reported everything yesterday on 29th. When they could have done is, as I told you, between 1 to 10 days. And this the logic I mentioned applies to 75% to 80% of the thing. But the 20%, there will always be exception. He did something wrong, he will delay it and report little late, etc., 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 kind of things. But otherwise, if you see 19th, 13th, 20th, 27th, that kind of dates are there, right? This I'm believing this is when a deal might have happened or they agreed to report, etc. But the generic rule is 1 to 10 days based on the action happening. That's why if you see on the ownership, right, 21, 18, 7%, 5%, 8%, etc., etc., right? This is what we talked. More than 5, they have to report. Again, there will be some exceptions. 4.9 still, shares could have changed, etc. When he bought it, it could have been different, but there will be some exceptions. Sometimes you see lower number too, but it applies more or less to 80 to 80%. So based on this info, you at least now gain, okay, if I'm following some standard people who are delivering success, well, I have something to look at. Or if some company you have confidence or at least falling under your eye every day, maybe something is happening here. Okay, you are gaining confidence. Otherwise, based on how much amount invested, you will get some ideas, right? All this is information that can help us to feel confident or at least get some direction. There are hundreds of companies. Let's say there is no trending report, for example. I don't know that INGY is trending since last 2 weeks. Once in a while, it's going up, coming down, going up, coming down. On top of it, when some transactions are occurring and trend is forming, How we determine that, that also I will tell, based on other reports, not charts, but reports plus charts we can do, right? So once we know the trend is established, you know you got some percentage there, some percentage of return is there. We have to take risk. Reward we will know only after, right? So like that, this report is very helpful. That is SEC 13 reports. Okay. Now this we get day to day. Everything is self-explanatory. This is only for that day. For 5 days they made it easy instead of going to all report, etc. So now if you see here, even these many transactions are occurring. CVRX, 3 transactions occurred, making our life easy instead of going to all report. Right here you can see, okay, 3 transactions occurred in last quarter versus this quarter. That way, latest information is coming here for you. Now let's say this is the thing we just discussed is to find a stock. Okay, you don't know anything which stock to invest, then maybe if you review this over a time, if I just show this report, you will know nothing. But if you are following stock market, when you see, maybe you will gain some knowledge and eventually you will develop some pattern, right? And that pattern, if you analyze yourself in watch list and success is coming, maybe you will even get into real investing. So this is what we saw. But let's say you already know some stock. Let's say Apple, okay, Apple is there, is a good stock. What I'm going to do, or how the investors mindset is going on with this company, etc. If you feel that way, right, we can get into something called ISR report. ISR, individual statistical report. I know a company, then I want to see how the action is going on, or what really it tells me. Because I'll show you one report which will give us more insight actually. So we'll go to that definitely. So that one report will tell you what are all the stocks, what is worth, how the investors mood is, etc. But keeping that aside, let's say some company, our friend said, yeah, I got to know today there is a company called Apple, or you listened a couple of times, but somebody again spoke about it. You want to see or know what exactly it looks like. From here you can click, so it will take you to that report directly. That's just a that way you don't have to go to search all that. But if you see it's in search, this is some report. Let me take Apple so I can explain. Even it's same thing even here, but maybe Apple you get connected more. So let me do that. Then if you see here Apple, okay, so in individual statistical report, we are trying to pull Apple report. Let's say we got to know, right? Then it's just simply giving, what is symbol, how the volume look like in last 2 days, and then what's the price. And based on Fibonacci's, okay, recent action, I asked Sai based on how it calculates. So recent couple of weeks actions based, they will calculate this. So that gives you some levels to the upside, downside, what could be the possibilities. But the thing is, it calculates based on a few weeks average. So, the numbers could be little off, but at least you will definitely get an idea. So after that, overall, what is the institutions looking like? For example, you have Q3, you have Q4. What exactly happened between these 2 quarters? Okay, whether the sentiment of the investors is forward looking towards this company, or is it backwards, something like that. If this quantity is reducing by huge, and not just 1 quarter, but eventually if it's reducing, that means it's giving you a sign maybe this is not worth stock, or maybe investors lost confidence, right? Something like that. It's overall view. Everything is overall view, but the main things I focus is this table, and also even the price tables, 10-week average pricing, etc. If I come here, but otherwise if you see here in one table how the stock has behaved quarter over quarter, literally in last 2 years, 3 years picture, you are getting it. Okay, this is how it behaved from here to this range. Does it have more potential? By seeing averages, by seeing some numbers, you will get some confidence. Okay, maybe it has more potential. Let me take a look. or maybe I think this is it, or one quarter to another quarter, huge upside. Maybe, definitely there will be pullback. Yes, that you can see in Google chart or regular charts, everything. But I'm saying one place I'll be able to see this. But the more thing is, any recent transactions happened, that will show up here, recent SEC, once you know. So that is one confirmation. And overall top institutes, how they are doing, right? So if you see here, Vanguard has this many shares and is not touching it, up and down, same place, because they get dividend, they want to hold it as a long term. This is a nice long term buy. Apple needs no introduction, but seeing any report, you'll be able to build that confidence. So why? These numbers, did you see? So these numbers will help the sentiment of the investors and what it might look like down the road, irrespective of market conditions, right? Irrespective, yeah, even Apple tanks, even Apple rips. So irrespective of market conditions, some names give confidence for us for a long-term investment. And for short-term, right, as I told you, a combination of trending plus SEC, recently happened transactions, is giving me some idea, some picture that something is going to happen with this company. Whereas long-term, where there are a lot of positivity based on reports, there we can invest. There are reports which will tell you. Now, if you see here, you will know, oh, this is how it's moving. But you need to find all the stocks where this kind of action is happening, right? That reports are coming next session. But this is ISR report, individual statistical report, wherein you can see the sentiment of the investor, any recently purchased investors more than 5%, they will come here. There is a section, you'll get it. Or pricing related, how the pricing looking like, shares looking like, etc. So that will give overall some info and guidance. You can bring in 10 weeks average, how the stock moved, some reference. Everybody uses their own source. For me, here one source, I will be able to find a lot of things. What I meant by SEC, right? Here there is no SEC because nobody buys 5% stake in Apple. I mean, it's huge, right? Buying Buffett sir has money, he bought it one time, maybe. So he will report it right away. But buying 5% stake in Apple is not possible. That's why you don't see any SEC transaction. But let's say if they do, how it looks like, I think we went here. Let me go to that same report, or maybe I'll go to this one, right? This one has SEC transaction. Just let me go there. And I click it, I'm coming to the ISR report. So right here, it says recent SEC transactions. It clearly gives name, whatever, same thing, whatever we saw in SEC report, which will be presented in it's integrated in its company's individual report, basically. That is SEC 13D reports and ISR reports, basically. So now, as I told you, you got to find SEC report might help. You already know a company, this will give you some picture how the overall things are looking like. But we talked early when we started this meeting saying that individual investors data has been taken as inspiration or a start point, and then ThinkSabio has been built, right? So what if you want to know, and I told you that they have to report quarterly to quarterly, then we all should have got a question, if they are reporting, how their report looks or what they really have in their portfolio, right? Let's say you are very interested to see what Buffett has been investing, right? That's where if you go to institutions and individual institution report, okay? What is individual institution report? There is an institute. Let's say I have more than $100 million company, right? Then I am registering as a trading investor management. Then I have to report to SEC. So now if I have to report, I will have to tell what am I holding. So that holdings is nothing but individual institution report, basically. So Berkshire, it has its own investments, right? So his company name, Buffett's company name is Berkshire. So he has its own investments. What is really holding, right? That's one. Or ARC, it was trending 2020, now not trending. Maybe again it will trend. We don't know. But when ARC was hot, everybody wanted to know what ARC investment portfolio looks like. Or some other famous, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, anybody. Like what I'm trying to say is, let's think Reliance is there back home in India. He has been everywhere. Now Adani is growing. Are we not curious why his wealth has grown? Well, let's say he's telling, these are my company, these are my stocks, that's why I'm growing. It's giving you clear picture what you could have done. Forget about the past. Forget about how he achieved. But maybe if you take inspiration or take inputs or read it, maybe it will drive us to something telling, oh, this is what he has done. Maybe we'll get an idea. That's how everybody grows, whoever is successful, right? So bottom line, individual institution report holds anything that a particular company does it. Maybe, let's take Berkshire Hathaway. Okay. So many institutes are there. I think Sai has more than 7,000 plus institutes. So indirectly, we are knowing 7,000 profiles, and based on them, how they are investing. Out of that 7,000, earlier we saw Apple. 4,000 people are there. So more than 50-60% are in Apple investment. Like that, as I told you, that's once you get into Apple. But how to find where the investments are going on, or which company could be long-term standpoint winner, that we will see based on other reports. When we jump into this individual institution report, when you submit it, here you can play with any number of quarters. Okay. And here any number of, whichever quarter you want to go back. That way, this particular filters, the comparison filters between shares, everything changes to those quarters. So now, since we are in Q4 is done, right? We got data on in February, as soon as between 1 to 40 days. Now, let's say if you go here, how many stocks he is holding? 46 stocks. That is it. Okay. He's having 46 stocks for a AUM of, let's see if it has the AUM. Yeah. I think, yeah, maybe it's not here, or okay, let's click this. Yeah, how much it owns or runs? 314 billion company, right? So he has divided into like this, some into technology, some into this. Apple is a major share, right? That's why. So some into financials. Now what exactly he has put money into, where he has put, consumer defensive, how much into real estate, how much into energy, as a long term he has put long back. But if you see only this many stocks, right? Okay, what he has done between quarter to quarter, because some learning will be there definitely. If you want to see, like let's say 12 quarters from here, maybe let's see how many he has. So Apple, he has invested long time ago. Okay, maybe if I change this quarter, maybe you'll get another 12. But let's say since 2019, he's just sitting there. You see, nothing, just sitting there, and he bumped it. I think during COVID, most of us thought he's not doing anything, not purchasing anything, but he just put in Apple. That's it. He's happy about it. During COVID, he put it. He did not invest anywhere else probably, but he got heavy into this, maybe on the drawdown or whatever. So, this is how he's maintaining continuously. What are his top holdings? Apple, BAC, etc., etc. A ketchup company. I recently got to see some video, or maybe people posted it, etc. So ketchup company, right? The flavor, everybody loves it. It keeps on running. That's where he wants to invest basically. So like this, you can come across some good institute when you see their holdings or something. Maybe you'll get idea what they have done to get here. To get here, he took so many years, we know, right? But we want to get it in one day. If we fail today, we are thinking we are done, or stock market is not working, or this report is not working, our chart is not working, etc., etc. But they have taken time. They went through everything. What is the confidence? See here, same thing, holding. How much price might have went up? How much it would have come down, right? He does to his level or his budget. We have to do to our level, our budget. Formula is same. So this, like this, if you have few reports, like when I started, right? When I started ThinkSabio, etc., I followed Bally Gifford very closely. Maybe Sai was mentioning, or he had some mentions. So I got confidence maybe that time. That's why I kept on looking. So if you see his thing, right? Individual institution. We can go any, doesn't matter. I can just pick for this like for session. I can pick only one or two, right? If you see here, okay, he has big stake in Tesla, mRNA, ILM, Amazon, Meili. Did they achieve overnight success? No, he invested in this 2013. Okay, let me go here. Let me go here, Q3. Let's see if it does it. I never tried. Okay, they removed quarters. Maybe it will come for this. I'm not sure. Okay, I picked that. I don't know how far it will go, but let's see. Okay. I researched. So let me put the words out, right? Because I researched. He has invested in Tesla or PDD, like great companies, right before they can grow and leap into so many folds. He had 13 million. You see how stock is to know. I was not in stock market. I have no knowledge until 2020, but I used to hear about Tesla, or someday it is 500, another day it is $100 or whatever. I don't know if that stories are real, but now I know how it moves, so it's possible. But still, they hanged with it, and the results were like never before, never before. So right before Corona time, they invested heavy. See this, and the stock has taken off like crazy in 2 quarters. So what I'm trying to tell is some insight can be possible, and then the result will not happen overnight. That's where we see collectively where heavy investments are going on, and see if we can take some picture. That kind of analysis is being done by ThinkSabio. They are trying to share some. But thing is, when we follow, not the entire picture of execution or plan will be in your mind. So you don't know the goal, it is 1 year or 10 years. So naturally, we our execution completely differs versus the person who is really thinking of that stock. Now, let's say Buffett sir has invested into Apple. His picture would be like 10 years or maybe 30 years or never ending. Maybe, but for us, there is a real need and you want to gain tomorrow. We are totally out of sync. If I follow him, it's not going to work for me, right? That's where we have to think what is best for us by gathering some analysis. So this covers few topics that we wanted to discuss as introductory, and not to be heavy. This is how it's been designed, to put it simple. I'll recap quickly in 1-2 minutes. Okay. Today we talked about what exactly ThinkSabio, or how it started. It started off with trying to see individual investors and see what their information can be of any help to us, and from there various reports have been updated or developed, etc. Then we talked about, if at all we are talking about investors data, how are we even getting it, and what kinds do we have, and what are the time periods or time frames to receive that data. In simple words, one is between 1 to 10 days, and another one is every 3 months, right? So and we also looked into how that 1 to 10 days SEC report looks like, which we get on a day to day. And we also looked at how quarterly report looks like, which is nothing but individual institution report, because you are receiving it quarterly. So that for a particular individual we have looked at. And also, let's say, forget about all this. This is to find where they are, where the money is going, etc. But you already know a stock. You want to just give a quick glance whether there is one institute in Apple or 100, whether there is 100 or 1,000. What is in NVIDIA versus Apple? By doing so doesn't mean if Apple has more that it is, yeah, absolutely superb, but at least it tells you if you are holding, well, I can continue to hold. If you are holding NVIDIA versus that one, the different investments, different sectors or different paths. So naturally the interest will be different. However, you can, by seeing that, maybe your confidence of dollar investment, Apple $10, NVIDIA $7, or Apple $7, NVIDIA $10. Something. This kind of insights can be developed without you even talking to anyone. Okay, so we have some more reports that are not in session 2 also, that were developed later point of time. So on a day-to-day, if you see this trending, I wake up, some days I do homework, some days I may not be able to, which is 1 or 2 days, because I'm playing options actively. I do every day. I sit whenever I wake up. So now if you see here, these are trending. When I said that the other stock was trending, I will be able to see 15% move, 20% move. If they are forming that kind of moves, I'm telling you, either they take off real big or they tank, right? That's where we have to make sure our risk is minimized if it is going other way to our plan. So this report will give some insight on what is happening day to day, current market, and this report gets updated within every 4 minutes, etc. So you will be able to know, okay, this is what is going on in market. But if I'm doing options or anything, I want to know something, I'll just click Dow Jones. What are the stocks in Dow Jones? If you see, only 2 stocks are up on Friday on Dow Jones. One is Merck and the other one is Honeywell. 28 stocks are down. Here you can see the number. 28 stocks are down. So it clearly giving you some insight what is happening in the market. Not only that, that's where indexes help you, right? That what is going on with SPY, what is going on. But within SPY, which stocks are working? Something will have strength every day. Every day something will have. In pre-market, when you look at it, you will get some ideas. And apart from this, I will also look at how the chart is doing, maybe, right? That way, I'm doing a combination. Now I know I have a plan now. All I have to do is at 9:30 after the bell or during the trading day, as long as my thoughts are holding or showing up according to the market, then I can take a trade. Otherwise, I'll sit quiet, right? Something like that. But at least by doing this, I know in S&P 500, these are all the decliners, but let's go to gainers. Even decliners, if something is falling like ripping down, it will continue to dip because there is no strength. So you are getting some ideas. How? No dependency. You look at it, you might get some ideas. The same thing here, what are the stocks moving? Maybe, based on sectors or industry, you will get to know, okay, so many, okay, this stock is going on, etc., etc. So it will be helpful, this stock is moving, this sector is moving, etc., etc. So like this, you can form your own thesis and execution plan. No dependency. You have clear picture what you have to do. But you will fail first time. That's where you put only $1, $5, $10. The thing that you can take it. Once you are developing with this $10, all of your mistakes, learnings, etc. Now you jump to $100, $1,000, 5,000, 10,000, based on everybody's capacity, right? So, but I have no dependency. That's exactly what we need in our job. You have a dependency. What will happen? We will get fired. We know that. That's why we eliminate dependency. In stock market, you have a dependency. What will happen? Maybe your portfolio will never go up, or even if it goes up, one day it will come down. So eliminate dependency. It only comes with some guidance, hard work. So website is guidance. Online, so many follow Twitter. Well, okay, it's a source. Let's use it as a source. Guidance. Groups, guidance. What can somebody can do for you? No way, right? So this is another report, but there are plenty which will cover some in session 2. And as I told you, these are daily trending stocks and SEC I use. Weekly, this and quarterly we will talk about it. Quickly, I want to jump to all institution report, which covers, let's say you have no clue about stocks. This one report is everything you need. One report, 10,000 plus stocks. Go to the filters, put your budgets or put your institutions or put your maximum shares. You can play around with it. If I do in one session, or even if I cover in a session, you don't go and put your own hands and play around. You don't get ideas at all. Sector, play around, industry. You can minimize, maximize, whatever. But the idea, if you see here, is Microsoft. I told you earlier how to find. One thing is, after knowing, if I click here, it will take you to ISR report, individual statistical report. But Microsoft, highest people investors believe. Is it something today that people are talking about Microsoft? We might know today. We might have known in 2010. We might have known in 2000. But what I'm trying to tell is, if ThinkSabio was existing back in 2008, 2010, 2012, companies like Facebook, Shopify, Netflix, everything, Tesla, we could have blindly invested and sat through. Of course, with Tesla volatility, we could have backed out too, right? That's what exactly happens right now. Market is down. We are concerned what will happen. Not everything is long term. At the same time, not everything is overnight. This basic thing we have to understand when we are investing. So what I'm trying to tell is, although it is looking like this right now, this has been forming since last 20 years. It's not overnight. That's why it is in this position or sitting at the top. Same way, the idea is to find what is next. What is next? How you will find? When we look into the reports, when we are analyzing a little bit based on the data we are getting in. And the result will come when our kids grow up or whatever, right? You might get it on a day-to-day little bit, but so that's so many things here. As I told you, if you can play around with pricing, let's say this quarter I got data. Okay, I want to now find something amazing one between $50 to $100. Okay, and I don't want every sector. Maybe I want to look into some sector, anything doesn't matter, but maybe something basic materials. Okay, in the basic materials or within the industry, is there a combination? Then it will come. But let's say you don't even want this one. In industry, you want to get something, right? Okay, aluminum, what it could be, right? So if you do that, maybe you'll get some stocks. Or when semiconductors are doing good, all you needed to know is between 50 to 100, even I don't know, guys. I put this and you got only one stock. Think about it. It's not based on anything, just price, 50 to 100. And if you go and review the counts and everything, right? When you click on this, you will get the 10-week picture. Or here you have to go to different quarters and do it. But as I told you, once you know a ticker, just click on it to know how the stock price behaved, how the institutions, investors behave. For example, if you want, just click on that, right? And as I told you, everything is information based on how it comes. But all I need is this quick glance. 325, 313. You see this? Did it happen overnight? They were farming, around the same farming. And see this. From 13, it fell. We will give up, right? But 300 people, investors, that's what Sai says, right? When there are investments, not everything might be successful as per our judgment. But at the same time, these people are not vague. They're sitting in. They also took the volatility. You see the average? They also took the volatility. Where it is? It went to high of, I believe, $90+. 52-week high, $98. See, did it happen overnight? Couple of years, but $13 to $90. Whether we know, I understand. That's where how you manage your dollar. You invest today, how much you take out once it reaches certain goal. And then you still believe this company, and world scenarios needs to be taken into consideration and make our investment decisions, right? Then clearly you have some path, some picture that some focus is happening. You see this clearly, the stock has raised and it has given returns to the investor. So like this, we have to figure out what our quality could be or our need is, and then you play around, result will come. Not only that, you can do nice filters based on what are the stocks that are performing year to date, right? You can put minimum year to date or cancel this, literally cancel this. Come here, go here, click on this, year to date, something, some price level you give it. Okay, if once you give some price level, 500%, we know how tanking the market is, right? This one is 500 right now according to current price, but INDO ran like crazy. Whether it's a good stock with given institution or whatever, or the kind of move it makes, maybe not. But what I'm saying is, report is telling that this stock is moving. Then based on trending plus any insider or recent transactions, maybe you can make a call that I'm going to take a shot at it, right? Well, there will be risk if you are trying to aim for those kind of things. Well, there will be equal profit, equal loss. So that's where you have to decide what is your criteria and take a shot. So if you see here, so many things moved, right? When coal stocks are moving, for example, coal stocks are moving. All I have to do is some coal, okay, cooking coal, thermal coal, whatever. I put it, okay, year to date. Let's see. See, year to date, some percent, etc. Market is down, but year to date, all 4 months, market is down completely, right? But there are stocks that perform. How you gonna catch it? Did you see? I think in this stock, maybe hopefully something is there. Okay, so if you see, this was reported, this was reported, this was reported, right? May not be the exact percentages, but they were reported when they are about to make a move. If you don't get in after the, I mean, when the trend has started, if you get in, there is risk whether it will do which way. Once trend has started, you will have less risk, less reward, and less risk. But these are reported, right? Same thing. You want to do some other coal, some other coal came. I don't know what it is, but let's cooking coal. You click on that. Let's remove thermal coal because we saw only few stocks. If some friend is saying, or market is telling, or some article, paper article is saying, okay, coal stocks might do good. Now you need to know how I can build my content or my list. Coal stocks are good. Article said, my friend spoke, online said. Well, irrespective of those things are right or wrong, based on the authenticity of our friend or the article or even online you are following, let's say it's legitimate or it gives some positive information most of the time. Well, you need to know what are the stocks. So I think out of all this, I'm not sure if something is reported, but okay, this one is reported. I personally played some option, I believe, or ThinkSabio shared. I can't remember, but if you see here, this one reported at $70. I followed stock, so I clearly know. Where is it? 154. Wow. So what is 52-week high? Something, but doesn't matter. Year to date, some percentage. In this market, when trend is not there and stock market is collapsing, Sai caught this, posted this. Whether he invests, that's his decision. Whether we invest, that's our decision, right? I have to like the stock. I have to have a reason. But this platform is giving me information about stock or the picture of it between few years based on successful investing people. And their job is to do only stock market. That kind of people are doing some action in this. And some at some capacity, it's giving me big picture of it. So that's all is good enough for me. Who else is going to give better information than this? Even if I follow any friend, how much he's going to provide? He's going to provide only things which he comes across an article. But once I have this information, now all I needed was coal. Okay, let me go. Okay, I got the coal. This is the stock. And with other reports, how he pointed out AMR, he might be telling something, right, in his text, whatever. But I know how to find my own AMR. I know how to find my own whatever I found. I found CHTR. Let's take recent example, right? 2 weeks, 3 weeks back, I found CHTR. I told, or not I told, I'm not taking that as credit. I'm just trying to say my analysis worked and I'm happy. That's all. So I thought this stock is going to tank. Well, I understand it's going to, market was also on downtrend. That's why I made that decision that this is going to go down. If market was other direction, maybe I would have made other assumption, right? So I made that assumption. Yes, market also followed it. And the stock I found was at 552. The messages also are there. Now the stock is at $413 in 3 weeks. So if I want to short, I could have shorted, right? But I don't like stock short, so I play only options. So what I did, I want to observe how this stock behaves. So next time, if I want, I will trade that stock because I have a learning now. My learning is that this stock gives good returns in options, or the stock is risky, or the stock is not worth. Although the stock falls, premiums doesn't rise, then it's not worth for me to invest and babysit it, right? Instead, I did my analysis. I got some knowledge on that stock. Next time, I'm going to take a trade. So my point is, who told me that there is some stock existing CHTR? Nobody told me. I went through reports. If I put the more effort I put, the more CHTRs I find. The less effort I put, I might find CHTR. If I don't put any effort, maybe I don't find any, then I will rely on somebody, and their analysis could be different versus mine with respect to dollar investment, risk management, reward planning, or reward analysis. Naturally, the output will be different for both of us. Literally, it will be different. So my only point is, well, these are the reports. I covered few today. I'm going to cover in session 2 whatever the topics laid out in that panel, and we're going to learn more. I request whoever came in today, if possible, join next time. So this is your learning. Even if you can make your own decision, I'm telling you, right? On that note, let me open for question and answer, and then if more questions are there, we can talk more about it.